texted him. I said, hey, weird question. Definitely say no if you don't want to. But Rachel and I are starting a podcast about Star Wars and Transformers. We want closing instrumental music that sounds like Linkin Park because the first 3 Transformers movies end with Linkin Park song. Would you be interested in making a 20 to 30 second piece of music? And then I sent that at 6 p.m. and he sent me the music at 7:19 p.m. And then he had the opening music to me by midnight. And this is what it sounds like. This could get us copyright struck, I think.
I know. I'm so worried.
It's so close.
I thought...
Thankfully, it changes pretty quick here.
Yeah.
So happy. Man, this man, what a man. So if you listen to the first episode, you've already heard this music because we went ahead and edited it in for the first episode. So there's no cliffhanger for you on the title of this podcast, which is Rebels and Robots. And we will talk about how we landed on that title in just a moment. It's not a super exciting story, but there's a bit of a story there. But if you listen to the first episode, there's no sense of... there's no cliffhanger for you. There's no suspense there. Well, there was for us, though. We ended the last episode with no music and no title. But if you listen to the first one, you've already seen the title. If you listen to this, you've seen the title. And if you listen to the first episode, you've heard both pieces of music. And I think we're both incredibly happy with all 3 of those things. How do you feel, Rachel?
It's fantastic, especially just having some really great friends that are willing to help us have some fun, willing to give us their time.
And I'll shout them out again. We didn't say the name last time because we didn't know for sure if he would do it, but I asked him how he wanted to be credited. He just said he's want to be credited as his name. His name is Caleb Jacoby. I don't know if he really has any online presence. I meant to ask him if he wants us to link anything for him. But one of our friends who's just a musician, and obviously the fact that you could whip something up that quickly, I think shows an immense amount of talent.
You could probably put that in post.
Put what in post?
Like links, if he has anything.
Yeah, for sure. I need to ask him.
SoundCloud.
I also wanted to talk about how we came up with the title. So last week I pitched some live on the podcast and got crickets from Rachel. And I want to read those off real fast again for anyone who didn't listen to the first episode. I texted her them. I was trying to so our original concept title was Starformers, but I thought that sounded too much like an astronomy podcast about how stars are formed. So I started trying to cram the word podcast into different Star Wars and Transformers related things. So like Potamus Prime Skycaster, the Pod Wars of Castertron, the Pod Wars of Cybercast, Autopod Jedicaster, and Podobot Jedicaster.
Very wordy.
I read that to 2 friends of mine. One was my fiance, and one was our very good friend.
Did you just friend zone your fiance?
Well, I just went 2 friends in my head, and I realized one of them's more than that. And they both also gave me crickets and then said, we're glad Rachel came up with a better idea. Other ideas that... I also threw out there, Rach and Cam are Jedi bots in disguise. And then you just responded to that as Rach and Cam bully each other. Which is really funny if our podcast had a more general, vague sense to it. But I wanted the title to at least somewhat convey... what the topic of the podcast is. You said In Galaxies Far, Far Away, which is a really fun title, but was a little too vague. It didn't include the Transformers as much. And then you just texted me kind of out of the blue midday Saturday, Rebels and Robots. I was like, yeah, that's solid.
Rebels and Robots.
I have to keep reminding myself the order of them, though, and not say Robots and Rebels.
We just switch it around every now and then and just gaslight. No, if we switch it around, we got to switch like the image.
Just alternate weeks. That's funny. And I like the title a lot. I have to remember which order it goes in. I was shocked that I couldn't find anything with that in the title. Like not like even other things other than podcasts. I mean, I'm sure there's something out there with that in it, but it's a pretty unique title. So congrats to you for finding a unique title on the internet. That's not incredibly. That's kind of why the titles I was throwing out, I knew no one would have ever used those before, but yours is simple and to the point, but kind of draw some intrigue in, and I'm really, really happy with it. And then you also whipped up a logo for us as well.
Oh, yeah. I typed in some text to Photoshop.
But do you know what? Still, though, it's clean and it's simple, and I think it looks really good. And I look forward to us creating a more detailed graphic. But for the time being, I think that's really good.
I hope that font doesn't get us like a copyright
strike. I thought about that too. I think we'll be fine, but I think it would be good for us to figure out something fast.
The mouse is going to get us.
The mouse. Oh,
the mouse
on the Star Wars. Yeah. Who owns Transformers?
Hasbro.
Yeah. But does someone own them? Like Warner Brothers owns DC and Disney owns Star Wars. Does anyone own Hasbro?
I don't know. And here's the thing with like Hasbro. I'm also not bashing on Hasbro in case anyone from Hasbro is listening. If you're a Hasbro executive, shh, cover your ears. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes because, like, for example, Hasbro has their own toy line of Transformers, and then you have a bunch of third-party figures. Like, I think Takara is one that basically also makes Transformer toys, but they're not an official line. But sometimes they're better.
Oh, interesting.
But so it's really kind of, I don't know. They've got a copyright somehow, but I don't understand how it works when like other brands are making third-party figures and like not getting sued.
I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I'm looking up. So the Hasbro is still owned by the Hasenfield family, or at least the majority stake is. So I'm trying to see if maybe they own something else.
So glad.
I was just trying to
come up. No one else owns it.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there was another funny metaphor like the mouse for Transformers.
Keep it away from Discovery.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Keep it away.
Can you imagine the amount of Transformer stuff that would get produced and not put out if Discovery owned them? So anyways, so I wanted to start off this podcast with a few corrections from last episode, because obviously there were many mistakes. Oh, my AC just turned on. Okay. I am going to go turn it off and we'll cut this out. So we don't have to listen to that.
I could just ad lib. I just whistle straight into the mic. I'm sprinting. We'll see how long it takes them to come back. Oh, it's off. That was fast. So anyways, that was a really embarrassing story about Cameron that I can tell you.
I already have to do a new correction immediately because I said AC. I meant heat.
Oh.
It is early January, and it is pretty warm outside.
Not for long. It's supposed to snow.
Again?
Yeah, in the morning. Well, if winter precipitation.
We can't allow weather talk to get on this podcast because where we live, it will be every episode. So
how about that weather?
I got to lean back from the microphone because I'm out of breath after running down the stairs.
Cameron.
Seriously, that's why I got to come all the way back here.
I would have done the same thing. I've been like, you want to carry on the next 2 minutes for me?
Okay. Corrections from last time. So I'm glad you looked this up. Michelle Ong is 39 years old.
For context, we looked this up immediately after we stopped recording.
We were talking about her as if she was a teenage girl, and she is a grown woman. So apologies to Michelle Ong.
I guess that would make sense because maybe I know women's voices change. I don't know how much they change.
They certainly change
as we get older, but I wonder if maybe that like we just noticed a difference, or maybe it's been a while since we've seen the first season. But I feel like there is a bit of a difference in her performance. So maybe that first.
Yeah, it could be direction, like whoever's directing the voice acting. Could be sick at the time. Could be honestly better microphones, picking up more nuanced noises. You just never know.
She could have maybe been pitching her voice too to sound younger.
Oh, it could be the voice editing. Yeah, the voice editing could be different.
I hadn't thought about that.
And they could be pitching her voice differently in post production to make it sound older.
I hadn't thought about that.
So. Either way, we were very wrong about her age, and I wanted to correct that.
Through puberty.
That was funny. Yeah, she has not. This 39-year-old woman has not gone through puberty in the last 3 years.
No,
correct.
But we do love her.
I also, when talking about my ranking of the Star Wars movies, I said that Last Jedi was 2.5, which doesn't make any sense.
Like in your top 3?
Like if you're ranking movies, you can't have a 2.5. It either has to be second or third. Yeah. It's like tied for second or tied for third. If something is the next movie after 2, that makes it third. Mm-hmm. This didn't make any sense. I thought that was a funny thing that I said. Let's see. While talking about Bumblebee, I said that I said something like the movie, he shows a lot of character, and then I said that he was a walking meme machine. I failed to specify I was talking about him in the Bayformer films. So the way I said it sounded like I was just talking about him in his own movie, and he still kind of is because he's talking to the radio, but it's much worse. So I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. I'll get off my nope. I'm gonna get on a soapbox.
No, we can talk about that some other time. I just wanted to clarify that I was talking about the Bayformer films and not in his own movie.
Unfortunately, the Bayformer films.
This is a very small nitpick, but I still wanted to correct something I said. I said that we watched Star Wars every night leading up until episode 7. I meant to say every Tuesday. We watched one movie a week leading up to it.
You mean every... Oh, it was Tuesday nights. Wow.
Yeah, but I just said every night leading up to that, which was not what we did.
On the big old TV that we had to hit every now and then. And
oh my gosh.
It was like one of those big old flat screen box TVs. And one of the funniest things is that the screen would adjust to the space scenes, and then it would, like, say we're watching A New Hope, it switches to Tatooine, and first of all, the screen is like green cast, and it's like we all got flashbanged.
Yeah, I'll talk more about that in detail. I actually have a segment I want to do upcoming that would relate to that.
Oh, spoilers.
Another note, we were talking about things we had watched together on Disney Plus on Star Wars Night. We didn't mention Light and Magic.
It's because I forget about it.
Yeah, so Light and Magic is certainly part of Star Wars Night for us, our personal Star Wars Night now. And I wanted to bring it up because I thought that was kind of funny, our reaction to it, because we liked it, but we also kind of didn't want to watch it, but we felt kind of obligated to watch it. But then we really enjoyed the final episode.
It was because like 1 and 2 were really great, and then not that the story of Light and Magic isn't great, but like after, it's. The show was kind of marketed as like the history of Star Wars specifically, I would almost say. And then it kind of, at least that's the impression I got. And then it just kind of, it almost felt like it took a detour into just kind of like other stuff. I almost would have liked to have seen more about like the people that built, like we got a lot in the first 2 episodes, but I feel like there was so much more stuff we could have seen from like the people that were there from the beginning. And then like James Cameron showed up.
Yeah. It's very much. I think the issue for us is we were very interested in it, and it was conveying interesting information, but it was conveying it in the same way a History Channel documentary does. It was very dad style documentary, which is just a bunch of guys sitting down and talking to a camera, and there's not a lot of
B-roll,
interesting information. And there's tons of B-roll.
Well, true, yeah.
As far as like the way the information is conveyed is only done through the interviews, and it's all very simple and calm. And it's not bad per se, but it's not particularly engaging for 6 episodes.
No.
So
especially, they were long episodes.
Yes.
Too.
Oh my gosh. So it was very informational. It was heavy on informational and not so heavy on entertainment per se.
Too much light, not enough magic.
But we enjoyed it. It was just, I thought it was really funny that we forgot. It's very telling about it that we didn't mention it last week when we listed all the shows that we watched.
Because oh my gosh, we watched it and then Kenobi came out, right? We finished. I think we finished Rebels sometime after Book of Boba Fett, like sometime in May. I don't know.
So the first episode release was July 27th.
What did we watch that we forgot? Oh, we got through a couple episodes and then No.
Do you know what? I went to India.
Oh.
I think that's what it was.
I forgot about that. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Nothing came out at that time. What happened?
I left the country for 2 weeks. I think that's what it was.
That's Light and Magic. It made you leave the country.
So I thought that was funny, but we did end up really learning a lot of it, and do recommend it. Ultimately, if you're a Star Wars geek, I recommend that. But okay, so I've got 2 more corrections here. Dindy, the animator behind the 2D anime Clone Wars show. We totally messed up his last name. It's Jindy Tartakovsky. So Tartakovsky. That's what it is. Jindy Tartakovsky.
Have you seen his? Okay, this isn't Rebels and Robots. Have you seen his Primal show on HBO?
Yeah. I've seen the first half of the first season.
Hey,
I think
season 2's out and it's done.
it is. I liked it. I think it's an incredibly well animated show. It's just too brutal for me. It's so gory.
Oh, that first episode too.
It's incredibly well made. I'm glad he has been screwed over so many times by major studios. Him finally getting to make something he clearly is passionate about. I'm happy for him, and it got a lot of awards. It got a lot of attention. I'm happy for him. Personally, I couldn't watch anymore though. But
I do think I think the first season is the best. The second season is fine. Do you care if I spoil it a little bit?
Go for it.
Spoil it. Introduced too many humans. It's kind of weird. It actually introduced a whole lot of like very similar to human cultures, but I almost feel like some of them were just different enough to not be the exact same. It was fine. The ending, which I won't spoil, is outrageous. And not like in a bad way, but it's definitely like you're watching it and you're kind of like, it really feels out of left field.
That checks out.
So, but either way, I think the first season was best. Anyways, back to
good to know.
The subject at hand.
One last correction, more of a clarification. Mandalorian season 3 starts March 1st.
Oh, it's in March? I thought it was coming out soon.
I mean, March 1st. Like we said February. March 1st is pretty darn close.
Oh, by the time Bad Batch will be on its
Well, Bad Batch ends March 29th.
Oh,
so we were still going to double up, but we're going to be on this show until the last week. It's 3 full months of Bad Batch. It's just funny
that's considering the last season.
The fact that this is supposed to be a Star Wars and Transformers podcast, and it's going to be a lot of Star Wars at the start, but we'll have fun with it.
Star Wars.
Anyways, and the Star Wars is what we mostly know about. I mean, you know a good amount about Transformers. I don't, but I think once we do get to the Transformers segment of this podcast,
I know a good many things.
It'll be a lot of me learning and you enjoying my reactions.
I will be talking for hours.
Okay, so I think now would be a good time for us to discuss the topic for today, and then we can go into our segments after that. But yeah, so Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3. We just finished watching it a matter of like 30 minutes ago, and we can just go through it chronologically, and then we give our general opinions at the ending.
I was gonna say I looked at the timing. This is actually technically the longest episode so far.
Really, I think that's cool because I think it uses that. I didn't feel that long.
It was it's 24 minutes, 27 minutes, and then 30 minutes.
Oh, so for this season, you mean?
Granted, yeah, for this. Oh, yes, no, because the longest episode is like the first episode of the first season.
Yeah,
it's Order 66. But I mean, granted, all of Disney Plus shows have at least 2.5 minutes of credits at the end.
That's true. Yes. So we start off the episode seeing this new clone armor. That's yet another step towards stormtroopers, but not quite there. And you pointed out something interesting about it.
So I was obnoxious about this because I was like, I know I'm right. I saw it and I was like, that looks so familiar. And I am a concept art nut. I mean, I majored in art and animations. I collect those like art of books. You know, those publishers get a lot of my money. I just find that stuff so interesting. I considered it as a career path. Before I realized I didn't want to go in the industry. That's a whole different story. But so that clone armor that we see on Desix is 90% original Stormtrooper concept art from Ralph McQuarrie. I was telling Cameron, I was like, it is. And Cameron's like,
I wasn't sure. I didn't
sure.
recall it, but I definitely knew it was clearly being implemented now because it looks like a cross between phase. Is it phase 2 or what phase is the episode 3 clones?
I feel like it's phase 2.
And it's a step between the episode 3 clone armor and the Stormtrooper armor. But it is interesting that concept art is such an interesting mix between the two.
I saw it and I was like,
yeah, because once you sent it to me, I recognized it. Yeah, because that's when they were playing around with stormtroopers having lightsabers. That concept art you're looking at right now doesn't have it, but like the shield,
these ones in the back,
the very early clone troopers had shields and lightsabers themselves.
Yep.
And so I think that's where that armor design comes from.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, tidbit.
So yeah, so fun geek stuff. It's both humorous, but also I think very cool how Star Wars has continued to mine that early stuff. Because Star Wars always feels like it's connected to its roots in some degree visually. It's very rarely, at least with the mainstream stuff, going too far away, which I wouldn't mind if stuff, it always makes the universe feel coherent.
I mean, I've mentioned this before, but Rebels is just like, if anyone has seen anything about Ralph McQuarrie's concept art and then watched Rebels, Rebels is like 75% Dave Filoni going, this wasn't used in the original trilogy. I'm using it now.
Yep, lightsaber designed, the ATST designed, a lot of the cities.
Fifth Brother's hat was supposed to be Kylo Ren's hat.
Well, there you go.
Fun fact.
Wow, so not even Ralph McQuarrie art, but also
other recent concept
Force
art
Awakens,
as well.
and wow, that's really interesting.
Fun fact.
Yeah, so it's always fun to be, as a Star Wars geek who knows that stuff, to be able to be at this point, it's a cliche, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme pointing out at the screen. Oh, there it is.
That is me every time I watch something ever.
So, something I think if I thought about it for 5 seconds, I would have thought it's almost inevitable with a Filoni cartoon, but I didn't expect it nonetheless. The battle droids show up in this episode.
Yeah, that was at the beginning.
Were they in the trailer for the season? Were you surprised when they showed up?
I really can't remember, because now that it's shown, most of what I remembered from the trailer was Cody. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, huh? Cody?
I'll talk about Cody in a second.
Spoilers, I guess. I guess if you're here, you don't care about spoilers. I can't. There's some. Whoop, I gotta keep my mouth shut because you haven't seen the trailer.
Nope.
That was close.
You had to release it, not vocally, just through the air right there.
Yeah, I had to spit it out. I can't remember if I really saw battle droids, but I have heard that a lot of the trailer stuff we have seen was a lot of the first 2 episodes. So there are some things like from later in the season, like Cody. Granted, this is 3rd episode, so not too far, but lots of people talking about so we've kind of seen a whole lot of it already. So I guess we'll see, kind of going in blind for probably, I'm guessing, the second half of the season.
Nice.
The last 8 episodes.
Yeah. The last half of the season, so, sometime around July, the second half of the season. We're going, no. It is pretty long compared to other Disney Plus shows.
The fact that there are 3 times they're releasing 2 episodes at once.
That's true.
In the middle and then at the end.
And it's still going till the end of March.
It's still going to the end of March.
Oh my gosh.
That's why they had to push it back. They're still working on episodes.
Want to double up on our clone armor friends, or Mandalorian armored friends, having the Mandalorian and Bad Batch.
That's why they had to push it back 3 times. It took all that rendering time. There's so many episodes.
So it's fun to see the battle droids back. Being in 3rd grade when Revenge of the Sith came out, instantly loved, because the battle droids don't have a ton of personality in 1 and 2. They're given a lot more of a comedic personality in 3. And so that's always had a special place in my heart, even though it's really stupid. That's Star Wars, baby. It's stupid.
And Clone Wars did it too.
Yeah, but Clone Wars does not come out till after Revenge of the Sith. So Clone Wars took what was implemented in Revenge of the Sith and went way farther with it. And I always enjoy the goofy clone battle droids and their antics.
Roger.
And so happy to see him back and being goofy. And then it cuts away from that initial battle to Rachel's favorite boy, Crosshair, and Rachel literally got up, started to walk out the door for comedic effect, and I thought that was very funny.
I love dramatics. What can I say? I love dramatics, and I hate Crosshair. I just.
Well, you're not the only one who hates Crosshair, because immediately he sits down at the cafeteria table, and the other clones get up and leave.
That was so fun. You know who that was made for? Crosshair haters like me. I appreciated that so much. I thought that was top tier humor, because he sat down. Also, so he sat down, and the clones side eye him, and they immediately stop their conversation, and they look at each other, and they get up and leave and switch tables. That is hilarious to me.
I just have that noted in my notes as clones bullying Crosshair.
Good. I also,
though their reasons for hating him are different than yours. Theirs is kind of a racist reason. They hate him, I presume, because he's different.
Yeah, there's definitely some prejudice there. I just think he's a snake. So, I also thought it was really funny because his armor is so different. That scene of him approaching the table, which is like a couple seconds long, he stands out like a sore thumb. And the first thought that came to my head was like that meme where it's like, when you're playing a video game and you see your customizable character in a cutscene, because like how much he stands out compared to everyone else. It's like we see yourself in a cutscene, you're wearing like the goofiest outfit, and you're like, oh, this was important.
Well, speaking of outfits, that transitions to my next point very nicely, which is Cody's sexy gray armor.
It really looked like Wolf's armor.
Yeah, the gray. Yeah.
We'll get to that anyways.
I love it. Cody's always been my favorite clone. Probably because he's attached to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's my favorite clone. But I always thought his armor was at a really nice design, and so.
Is it Kenobi spoilers? Does it break your heart he wasn't in Kenobi?
There's a lot of things that break my heart about Kenobi. I think that is something they could probably do in season 2, and there's already too much going on in Kenobi, so actually not, because then if we're going to get him in live action, I would actually rather him be saved where he can have a little bit more space to breathe.
And honestly, if he'd been in season 1, Vader probably would have killed him.
Yeah, it would have been not very much, and so I'm actually not too disappointed about him not being in season 1.
Nerfed him to heaven.
Yeah. So,
wherever clones
but
go.
I like his appearance a lot. He's got a good amount of personality here, because he's always in the Clone Wars cartoon. He kind of always played second fiddle to Rex. Rex was always the better character in the Clone Wars cartoon, but here I feel like he gets a good amount of development, which we can talk about in a second. And and I continue to be so appreciative of D. Bradley Baker's performance. I think we're probably going to talk about this nearly every week, but
D. Bradley Baker.
His ability to create subtle, and I'm sure this has been said 100 times by a million Star Wars fans, 100 times a million fans, a million times among a million fans,
250,000 a million more.
Yes, exactly, about just his ability to create subtle distinctions between the regular clones. It is amazing. Like, you can legitimately tell the difference in just the voice between mainline clone characters. It's really cool. And in that moment where Cody and Crosshair meet up, they're standing next to something. I didn't know what it was. I missed it. You mentioned that. What is his name?
Rampart.
Rampart.
Summoned Crosshair, interrupting his lunch or dinner, whatever it was. His chicken leg. That's what that was. I thought that was hilarious. No soup this time. But he said, you're going to meet your new captain down by the Clone Memorial. And this is on Coruscant, by the way, which was pretty cool to kind of come back to that. So, do you want... I don't know if you're gonna... I don't know if you want me to explain it. I guess what it was.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so the Clone Memorial. I should probably confirm, but I'm like 90% certain that it's a memorial for clones, and it's a memorial of the clones that died in the Battle of Geonosis. So it's got all of their numbers on it.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. That's a fun Star Wars thing. Is there's a thing in the room that's mentioned or commented on or not even named, that's just there, that if you don't know what it is, it doesn't really matter. But if you do know what it is, it does thematically contribute to what's happening.
I feel like it also shows that I don't know who put it together, but it was on Coruscant. Someone out there cared enough to make a memorial about how many hundreds of thousands of, probably like how many tens of thousands of clones died in that battle.
Yeah. It is a nice touch. And really hammers home the clone, like Bad Batch is a cool continuation of, just like Rebels is a continuation of Clone Wars, Bad Batch is a continuation of Clone Wars, hammers home that point of the clones as individuals. Like, even though we know the whole war was for evil purposes, the whole purpose of the clones, the whole purpose of the Republic at that point was being run by an evil madman named Sheev. And regardless, the good Jedi and the good clones were still human beings. And that was why, still, in a war like that, the Republic were still the good guys, because for one reason, there were separatists were using these cold droids that would do anything at any point. That's the theme of this episode, is the clones still have the capacity to make decisions and be human.
No one's ever too far gone. Or, what is it? No one's ever truly gone. I don't remember.
No one's ever truly gone, yeah.
It's the same sentiment. Luke says it in The Last Jedi, so you know.
So then we move on from the Clone Memorial to so they land on the planet and they're striking into the city, and there's a moment where a door opens and there's a civilian, I think it's a mother and her child, and Cody's like, "It's okay, we're not here to hurt you" or something, and both of us just looked at each other knowingly, because if Cody had not, you mentioned this, Cody had not been there, Crosshair would have shot them down instantly, I believe.
It is like it made me think of that scene from Kenobi when Darth Vader is walking through the village and just murders that kid. I don't know. Spoilers. If you haven't seen Kenobi at this point, you get spoiled at your own risk.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I was like, I don't know. He was kind of standing there, looming, gun in hand. I wouldn't have put it past him.
And something later in the episode, I think, confirms this opinion as well.
Spoilers.
So Crosshair would kill that family, Crosshairs, and then we just have a series of ridiculous Crosshair shots shooting off of a tiny mirror. And I'm caught in the middle on this, and whether this is stupid and like too cartoony or if it's just cool and enjoyable. I'm kind of in both, like one foot in both camps.
I think there's like one thing about it that I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, like, oh, that's super cool. There's also a part of me that I think like on the logistics side, but also I'm always going to slander Crosshair. So I mean, whatever. There's a part of me that's kind of thinking, this is probably, logically the first time he's ever been in that building. They're going up a tiny spiral staircase with walls. There's no handrails, so not OSHA safe. But they're going up this tiny staircase. They've already been shot once, I believe, and so he throws that up. Unless it almost was like, just chance. It almost seemed a little. I don't know. It seemed a little, I think, unrealistic, but also I'm not gonna like harp about, I guess, the realism in Star Wars.
Yeah, it is one reason why I was originally surprised that Disney kept Clone Wars as canon is because there are things that happen in Clone Wars that would never happen in a movie. And so you have to canonically recognize a lot of goofy stuff. I might be stoking the fire here a bit, but when that scene happened, he shoots, he throws his little tiny ultimate frisbee up in the air and he shoots it and takes out like 4 droids or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to count. I was being petty, and the first words out of my mouth was, okay, so Crosshair can do this and it's fine, but Rey's a Mary Sue. He had off-screen training, Rachel. He's clearly trained and also a man.
So yeah, that was me being petty, but that was also my first thought. What was I gonna say? Oh, so they make it up the staircase and they meet Governor Ames, the actual governor. And while I've got it up here, I think it's pretty humorously coincidental that the voice actress who played her character in the Metal Gear Solid series name is Sniper Wolf. That's funny.
Anyways, continue.
So we get like we're there. They get upstairs, and Ames has named Imperial Governor. I don't know his name. They said it, and I immediately did not remember. I don't know, Governor Cannon Fodder, I guess. She's holding him hostage, and I actually kind of really like the moment between her and Cody, because I feel like when seeing Cody talking her down to letting him go, and she's like, we sent a peace treaty and the Supreme Chancellor denied it. And you kind of have this moment where Cody's like, are we the baddies?
Yeah, it's an interesting, you kind of feel it coming from straight at the start there's literally it cuts to Cody at the beginning of the episode with a musical cue clearly indicating that he is not 100% committed to the Empire.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And then she lets the governor go. Cameron and I called this a full minute before it happened, if I had to guess.
I wish it had happened faster. It would have been funnier.
Yeah.
In my note, it just says Crosshair won't hesitate.
I won't hesitate. Yeah. So she lets the governor go, and the governor's like, execute her. And he's kind of whiny. If you had to, if you ask me, he's a little whiny. And Cody's like, I'm not gonna do that. And the governor's like, if you're a good soldier, you will. Paraphrasing. And then, as we called it, Crosshair shoots her. Surprised it took him that long.
Yeah,
maybe
I know.
He was reloading. Maybe he was trying to figure out how to aim without his little discs. I don't know.
And then as soon as he shoots, it pans. You hear him shoot. It's on Cody, and then it pans over to him. And the musical sting. I don't know if that's his theme or not, but whatever the music that is, it is so heavy-handed and hilarious. Oh, this is the equivalent to it's the opposite. We had the silent Wilco falling off the cliff in the last episode, and in this episode you have an incredibly in-your-face, on-the-nose musical sting. So we are, if you consider the last pair one episode, we are 2 for 2 on this podcast with hilarious noise-related moments when someone's been killed with a bullet.
Yeah, and then it doesn't end there.
Oh, it keeps going.
They go back.
Yeah, you still have to watch the subtitle credits. Of course, it's not over.
No, they go back to Coruscant because we see Crosshair again.
Yeah.
Crosshair had 2 interrupted meals this episode, which I think is
that's why he's so skinny.
I know, that's why he's so skinny. That's why he in both times he sat down, ate like 2 bites, and then someone over the intercom is like, CT9904 to the principal's office. I don't know.
They remember all these numbers. It's insane.
They probably have a book.
It's written on their hands.
Call this clone to my office. Yes, sir. Writes frantically on hand. And maybe it's a droid.
Yeah, I guess there are lots of people in this universe who remember all the clones' numbers. Crosshair remembers Cody's number, for example.
Yeah, maybe it's like ingrained in them. I always have to. Can you imagine? So we see this in Rampart. Because Rampart sends Crosshair on another mission, and Crosshair's like, don't you mean Cody? And Rampart's like, who?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of I thought that was interesting because, Crosshair called him Cody when he called him by his call number in the first half of the episode. And then Crosshair corrects himself to the number, and I'll get to that in a bit. But I wonder if you're a clone on that base and you hear an announcement go off, you like have to listen to that number because there's so many, you got to make sure.
Every time a number comes up, you have to listen closely.
You do.
Like anytime something gets announced at the airport and someone uses your first name and your ears perk up and you're like, oh no, it's not me.
Did they say 1124? No, I think they said 1126. Are you sure? I really heard 1124, and then like 4 of them show up. To the same office.
That reminds me. I mean, all my siblings, all 4 of us, our last names end in O-N. So like your ear doesn't hear the first bit of the name.
You mean your first names?
Yes, our first names end in O-N. Yes, our last names are the same.
What last name do you have?
Yes, our last names are all the same, but our first names all end in O-N. And
You're right.
So we would just
cute.
if one of our parents called a name from across the house, you would just hear the "un" at the end, and so you'd be like, "Was that my name? Was that your name?" So I know what it's like to be a clone now. That's interesting. We have a shared experience with clones.
Which one of us do they want? I guess
we have. I have that in common with the clones, and you hate Crosshair like the clones. So we both have something to relate to with the clones this episode.
And then we have that ending, that little bombshell that Rampart dropped.
Which is that Cody went AWOL.
Yeah.
And before that, okay, I couldn't remember exactly when this happened, but because you just said that, it reminds me. Before that, we had Crosshair and Cody reunite at the memorial, and they have their conversation, and Cody's like, "Are you sure we're doing the right thing? The difference between us and the droids was that we can make decisions, and we have to live with them." What a great line.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dee Bradley. Always delivering on the dialogue.
And I thought it was kind of interesting how Rampart was like, funny how clones keep seeming to leave when you're around. And I mean, I'm taking that as no one wants to be around Crosshair because I would leave too. But I know
Crosshair is just so awful that he makes clones realize how evil the Empire is if they didn't already.
Hey, we haven't seen his team, so maybe they left too. maybe they dipped. They're like, oh, this guy's awful. This is the worst manager we've ever had. This is the only manager we've had with the Empire, and he's terrible. But that was kind of interesting. So Cody is AWOL. So, I mean, at this point, it's probably safe to assume he's going to have a run-in with the rest of the Bad Batch. Or, I mean, this is not a trailer spoiler, but I'm spitballing. I would not be surprised if we saw Rex again.
Oh,
he's floating around somewhere. Filoni
produced Star Wars thing. Of course, we're going to see one of his creations again.
Blonde boy. What was I going to say? Okay, I feel like that's it for the episode.
Yeah, that's all I've got too. I thought the clones around you keep disappearing is also subtly very funny.
Yeah.
And either so it might be because you have a lot of adjectives for this man. I will transition nicely into my Rachel's comments section. And you had throughout the course of the episode, you had 3 very funny things that you called him. You called him a greasy little weasel. And we're talking about Crosshair here. A greasy little weasel, a gross snake, and a nasty rat man. All those adjectives might be, if they're accurate, might be why people don't want to be around Crosshair.
And they're all interchangeable.
And the best delivery of those was you said, he's a greasy little weasel man. And then you mumbled after that, gross snake.
I will say, I don't know if you heard this because I wrote this down. I wrote down something I said because I think I'm funny.
You are. I agree.
At the beginning, when after Crosshair's first interrupted lunch and he goes to Rampart, and Rampart very snarkily is like, how long did they leave you on Camino? And Crosshair's like, 32 rotations. And my immediately thought was, should have been more. And I thought, kind of going back to that was interesting because Rampart goes, and you came back. So
yeah,
the Bad Batch left him.
Got nowhere else to go, sir.
The Bad Batch left him, and they did not come back for him. They were like, peace, made your bed, lie in it, we're going home.
They cropped him out of the family photo.
They did. That's my favorite tweet so far. They left him, and so no, I mean, I don't know how long Camino rotations are. I mean, I probably doubt it was actually 32 24-hour days, because I don't know if someone could survive that long. I don't think Camino is a freshwater planet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if it is a freshwater planet, he could. I mean, he's got a. Wait, his sniper rifle has a grappling gun. We saw that when he saved Omega.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was just harpooning fish for 32 days.
You took me back to one of my strongest reactions in season 1 was I legitimately thought he was trying to kill her, and I was like, no, not that I really would have cared if Omega died that much, just like the fact that this man is so evil was the idea going through my head. This guy is so relentlessly evil.
It's on the same level as Maul just not going to run Anakin Skywalker over on Tatooine with his speeder.
I thought you were going to talk about Maul's undying vengeance against Kenobi, which would have prompted me to yell, Kenobi! I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Which is also,
apologies, headphone
to go another layer away from our topic, our amazing musical creator for this episode. His last name is Jacoby, and so we like to yell Jacoby at him in a Darth Maul voice.
We're going to dox him on live recording.
But we already said his name at the beginning. He wanted to be credited by his full name, so.
But yeah, they just left him. So I guess the Empire came back around and was like, well, guess we'll see that. I guess lucky for Crosshair that they found him on the one floating platform. I mean, it's like No, it's not Lost.
Castaway.
Yeah, it's like they just find him. And he's got
he was talking to his helmet or his sniper rifle.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Again, should have been more. Imagine they just don't put Crosshair in the second season. That'd been hilarious for me.
Yeah, for you.
Yes. So I guess. Oh, I had another thought. So when the trooper ship is shot down by the battle droids, there's the droids come up and there's like kind of a bunch of dead or injured clones, and they're like, there's no one here. And they turn around and Crosshair and Cody come out all dramatically and start firing.
Anyway, they started blasting.
I wrote, Crosshair survives ship crash. Me. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Very good. Very good. I like it. Some other fun comments that you made during the episode. Whenever Crosshair is done talking to Rampart immediately goes to his hollow pad, and you just went, iPad baby.
Because it's really funny. He tells Crosshair to leave, and he just silently stares at his data pad, and it's just like this long extended silent cuts. I think are hilarious. But I just, as iPad baby, he went to go watch, I don't know, TikTok or something. I feel like there's a version of TikTok that exists in Star Wars.
Another comment you had was at some point during the episode, you just made fun of Crosshair for he has to wear his own special helmet because his head's too tall, which is the second helmet-related joke we've had on this podcast.
His head just looks like abnormal. I think it's the lack of hair.
Sure.
But I also feel like, I mean, they got to make him look different because they're Clone Force 99. And so I feel like his face is just longer.
Is that just the Star Wars animated style? Because Dooku's head is abnormally oblongulated? What? Woof,
Oblong.
Well, elongated. That's the word I was trying to think. I combined the word oblong, elongated to oblongated.
It's the same thing.
And then they made Vader's head really skinny, and I'm trying to think. And then you have like, I don't know. It's somewhat of a Star Wars style for villains to have elongated heads.
They did it to Palpatine too.
I'm sure they did.
They look like they taxidermied him.
Interesting. Of course, the greatest villain in all of Star Wars, Jar Jar Binks, very skinny head.
There are a lot of arcs that Jar Jar ruined for me in the Clone Wars. I'm like, oh boy, new Clone Wars arc. And then Jar Jar shows up and I'm like, oh no. I had something else I was going to say. Oh, this is like, we can continue on comments. I just have some predictions that I'd like to spitball.
I have one last comment that you made during the episode, which was when it shows Cody at the very end of the episode contemplating his loyalty to the Empire. You just said, the gears are turning in Cody's head. All 2 gears.
All 2 of them.
Well, that was good.
That chip is rotting away.
So do you want to give a couple predictions?
Cody is not making it out of this series. Crosshair will kill.
Oh, like, I have the same thing earlier.
Like, I mean, I did, like, he's not making it.
I was so confident I didn't even want to say it because I felt like a spoiler. But yeah, I totally agree.
Well, it's a prediction for right now, but if we're right, we're right. And I think we're going to be right. Here's the thing. And here's my evidence. Well, the fact that Cody is literally in nothing else. You know, Cody was the guy who wrote the Kenobi trilogy that was then condensed into the show, wanted to have Cody living with Obi-Wan on Tatooine.
Oh,
they were going to be together.
They were roommates.
Yeah. But they took that out. Mm-hmm. And me being the constantly like I think too hard about things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a part of me that kind of wondered.
You wouldn't be a Star Wars fan if you didn't.
Yeah. I mean, considering they were supposed to come out in the same year. I mean, Bad Batch I would say season 2 was in production for longer than Kenobi. So I wonder if maybe they're like, we want to have Kenobi in this series, and Dave Filoni was like, guys, we kind of have a plan for this, and it's not gonna happen that way. I mean, that's just my thought. It might have also been really confusing because if say he does make it out of season 2, it'd be kind of weird to have him alive in the Kenobi show 9 years later, and then just have Cody show up again, I guess, after not seeing him since Revenge of the Sith and Clone Wars. But either way, he's dead. There's no way he's making it out. And I mean, I feel like if he was alive, he would have been in Rebels with the Bro Squad, with Rex, Wolf, and Gregor. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, it's not
all coming together for Cody to be dead.
The odds are not looking good for this man. And then speaking of the Bro Squad and Rebels, where is Wolf? We have seen Rex and Gregor in the first season of Bad Batch. And we've got Cody. We haven't seen Wolf yet.
Maybe that was Wolf all along in that gray armor. He's masquerading as Cody.
They could pull it off.
They're Zack and Codying it up.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have any other predictions?
I keep seeing a lot of people saying someone in the Bad Batch is going to die. I mean, it's right up Filoni's alley. I don't know who it is.
I can't imagine them killing Cody and one of the Bad Batch.
I hope it's Crosshair.
Unless it's Crosshair, yeah.
And I feel like
probably have whoever's going to be the villain for season 3 kill Crosshair.
Is there a confirmed season 3?
I mean, they're going to set it up.
What do you know?
I don't know anything. I'm just saying, if almost certainly the season will end with some sort of setup for season 3, I would guess.
Dave Filoni.
And I would guess that whoever they want to be the big bad in the next one kills Crosshair.
I mean...
Or they start to pull... Or they go the other direction and they start to pull a Fast and Furious and just keep adding more people to the Bad Batch, including previous villains, and they just...
More.
It's all about family.
Imagine at some point Vader shows up.
And then he becomes part of the Bad Batch. Just break canon altogether, add everyone to the Bad Batch. So they get to the point of they just redo the original saga, but it's the Bad Batch
the Bad
doing
Batch
everything.
The whole time.
You get to the end of episode 9 and it's just the Bad Batch with every single hero up to that point as part of the Bad Batch, including Vader, including Kylo.
I mean, we have talked, and we've kind of mentioned this too. I'm very curious what happened. I've heard people say it might be Omega. I don't know if Filoni is going to kill a child.
I doubt it. I don't see that happening.
So obviously, Boba survives the Sarlacc pit. He is alive and well past the fall of the Empire. He is adopting children off the streets. He is running the family business. So I'm just curious. Where's Omega? I mean,
it's always the question.
Here are my hopeful cameos for season 2. Boba. I would love to see Boba Fett, like a young Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty cool. Maybe we could get that scrapped Boba Fett Cad Bane. The Bad Batch already ran into Cad Bane. I'm projecting. Let me have my moment. Yeah. I just want Boba Fett. I also think there could be a fun... We've already seen one pirate. Fee. Yeah, Fee from the first episode of season 2. We got one pirate. Not a far stretch to show Hondo.
Oh my gosh.
I was just saying.
One's ever truly gone.
Just bring him back. Just bring him back.
Okay. Do you have any other final thoughts about the episode from today?
I got memes.
Yeah, I just thought it had great atmosphere. I really enjoyed the episode. It was very self-contained. I think you could just watch this episode as its own little short film, and the particle effects and the lighting effects all made the episode have a very nice dark feeling to it. And it's just the majority of the episode is just D. Bradley again, as always, talking to himself and nailing it.
Another
And
episode
so I liked it.
with like 4 voice actors, maybe 5 if you count the droids.
Yeah. So this is, as I'm thinking about it right now, this is almost certainly my favorite episode of the Bad Batch thus far.
Really?
Yeah. And it just had a strong narrative and strong atmosphere. So that's what I'd say about that. So we want to go on to memes now, our meme corner, which until we come up with a better name for this segment, we'll call it Meme Corner.
I have a few Bad Batch ones and then just other Star Wars ones.
Go for it.
So this one, I was losing it. I found these on TikTok. I don't know who posted them. Sorry. They're memes on the internet. So, it's in the format of the Drake meme.
Yeah. With Omega.
So, the Drake meme, the first frame is him like putting his hand up like no, and then the next one is him like smiling like yeah. So, first one is Omega frowning. I hope this translates well into podcast form without the image. So, Omega frowning. When Wrecker and Omega acquire massive debt for Mantel Mix. The second one, Omega smiling. I gotta take a breath because I'm gonna like crack up. I can't say it.
You want me to read it?
No.
Go for it.
I'm prepared.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh.
Okay.
When Rika and Omega acquire massive debt for Mental Mix. It's just written phonetically in her accent, and it's so cute. I just think it's adorable.
That's precious.
So I've been just typing Mental Mix since I've seen it. The other one I saw, this is from season 1. This is the episode that I don't remember the number. The Bad Batch helps Sid get her bar back from the Pike Syndicate, I think.
Yeah.
From whatever the guy. At the end of the episode, they're walking back, and Sid goes, "Come on, boys, first round's on me." It's a screenshot. The bottom 3 screenshots are the frame that Echo, Wrecker, and Tech sprint to the bar, and it's freeze framed while they're blurred. And it's just here. I'll show it.
I want to see it.
It's good. Oh
man. Oh, so it's all 3 of them individually sprint.
Yeah. That was one of my
Man, that's
favorite
good
parts of
stuff.
that episode because like
Come on, boys, first round's on me. That's good.
Immediate
I like it a lot.
sprintage.
So I found a meme this week. I sent it to you. And this meme technically does not directly reference last week's episode, but it seems to, if it was not made after last week's episode, it's definitely relevant again. It says Dooku entails the Jedi. And it's a screenshot of him, and it says, "Corruption like yours must be eradicated." And then it says, "Dooku during the Clone Wars." And it's just an image of Scrooge McDuck diving into his gold. And yeah, that is a really astute observation after last week, at the very least. If we didn't realize how rich he was, other than the fact that now he's always been a Duke, though. Oh, Dooku. Never mind. Count. Sorry, Count. That's what I was thinking. His title. So he's always been some sort of rich.
Money.
Yeah. But clearly hoarding lots of wealth to his name.
Kind of interesting tidbit from this last episode when we see Governor Ames, because she's like, Dooku was right. And I was like, oh, that's a stretch, but okay.
Yeah, he was right because the guy who was doing everything told him he was gonna do it. Like, it's really easy to know the ending of something when the writer tells you the ending.
Yeah. Another meme I have, this is a Rebels meme. I love all Rebels. It's a picture of Kanan and Cara, and it's a picture taken from like some picture book, and it's captioned, "Hera and Kanan are very close friends." And someone commented, "This is a funny way to spell married."
This one was fun because it was an unexpected. I didn't expect it to be a Star Wars meme, and I don't feel like I'm really surprised because this is a Star Wars podcast, so I wouldn't bring it up if it wasn't. But it is at the bottom of the image. You see the meme of the man and the woman laying in bed, but they're back to back, and it's the format of I bet he's thinking about other women, but it's their heads are photoshopped with Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, and it says, "Peggy, I'm so glad Steve is back. Steve, I can't believe I have to wait decades to watch the Clone Wars again." I didn't see the Clone Wars joke coming. It really caught me off guard that this meme was actually about the Clone Wars. And so that was quite amusing.
I think I really got like two more. So for those of you that have played Jedi Fallen Order, for those of us in the room present, it's me. Cameron has not. So there's a mechanic. I guess Cal is a surviving Jedi Padawan from Order 66, and he has broken his connection with the Force. As you play through the game, he's feeling his connection, and sometimes he comes in contact with items, and he has like Force memories. And this is written, "Cal touches an object. His psychometry. It's time for and it's a picture of a restaurant that is called Spicy Memory," which is hilarious.
Love it. So here's a couple of custom memes. I sent you an Instagram that was a video of a squirrel making this sound. You even have the rule of 3 in there. Very good. And I sent you that video with the caption, "Rachel at the store spotting a Black Series figure she doesn't have yet."
Did you like my response?
And you responded, "Finally, I've been looking for you boys all day." Oh. Reference to SpongeBob in there.
Oh my gosh, that is a perfect segue into the story I wanted to tell you about my grandma.
Oh, okay, go for it.
This is about Star Wars, I promise. So I'm hanging out with some friends on Sunday, and I see that my grandma has called me, and I was kind of like, interesting. This could mean multiple things. I'm assuming she's in town, and she's probably gonna be like, "Do you want to get dinner?" And the answer is always yes. So she calls me, and she goes, "Hey, Rachel, I'm at Walmart in this town like 30 minutes away. I'm not going to dox my grandma." And she goes, "I'm at Walmart and I'm with your uncle." And I hear my uncle in the background, "Hi, Rachel." And she goes, and I didn't know you collected these, but he says that you collect the Star Wars Black Series figures, and we're at the Walmart and they have some." And I was like, yeah, I do collect them. And she goes, I'm holding my hand up like a phone, like you guys can see it. And she goes, and I hear her start reading off, "Do you have the Obi-Wan Kenobi Purge Trooper Phase 2 armor?" And I was like, I actually do. And she was like, she goes, "That's $28. And I was like, "No, I do actually have that one." I was really appreciative that she thought of me. And I don't even remember when I told my uncle that I collected those. I must have mentioned it at Christmas. I was just really, I don't know, I felt really loved because I was like, oh, that's such a nice little
It's very nice.
tidbit. And the thing is I do have that one. I pre-ordered it 6 months ago on release date because I wanted it. And I really almost considered for a second, do I want a second one? But
not for $28. Did you pre-order it before Kenobi came out?
yeah.
So
No, it was like in the middle of Kenobi.
okay, because it would have been really funny if you had pre-ordered it before Kenobi and then it shows up in the episode and you're like,
That's it. I actually forgot I ordered it until December rolled around, and I had a random. So for other collectors, when you pre-order something from Walmart, it doesn't charge your card until it ships. So your order is the total, but it doesn't actually charge until the order ships. So I just happened to look at my bank account, and I was like, who spent $30 at Walmart? Because it wasn't me. And so I'm like freaking out, like, what happened? Did I get hacked? And then it was like, your order has shipped, and it was the figure, and it was like, it's coming tomorrow, and I was like, oh, and it arrived. It did not get stolen, fortunately. I have issues with package thieves where I live, so it arrived safe and sound. I was very excited. It actually arrived on that day. We had that bad ice storm, and it dropped like to 15 below. So. Very appreciative of the UPS man that brought my Star Wars figure in the snow. I feel bad.
Oh,
It
man.
wasn't planned.
Rain or shine.
Gotta get the boys.
Run from it. Hide it. Hide from it. Dread it. The UPS man still delivers you.
It's funny. I was working from home that day, and I got up from my desk and ran to my front door because I was like, my package. So that was just, as soon as I finished that call, I was like, oh, podcast story. It was very sweet. I look forward to getting more of those calls.
I hope you do. I look forward to them finding one that you freak out about because you don't have it yet.
I would be like, please buy it.
So another custom meme. You posted it in a friend group chat. I posted the link to the podcast, and you posted an imager of Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets, the two old men from the Muppets, known for making funny comments during the Muppet Show. And you posted that image with the caption, actual photo of Cameron and I recording the podcast. And then our other friend replied to that saying, haunted by the kiss, I'm haunted by the age difference. Are you an angel? More like, are you my mother? Oh!
That's pretty accurate.
And then she was glad that we liked that because she told us later that took her 40 minutes to come up with that response.
Oh my gosh.
But the real joke here is that when I posted the link, we posted in GroupMe, I posted the link and it got 11 likes, and your image got 14 likes. 3 more, and that includes, especially it got more because I liked yours, but regardless.
I liked your message.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did.
So that's still a 3 difference between me posting the podcast and you simply posting a photo of 2 Muppets. 2 Muppets that aren't technically us. We're 2 different Muppets.
I was gonna say, we're Muppets. Yeah, I thought that was top tier comedy.
Do you have any other memes you'd like to share?
This one's from Rogue One. It's the scene where the droid
K2SO.
Yes, K2. I was like, KP? That's not it. K2SO is quote unquote arresting Cassian and
Jyn Erso.
Jyn. For some reason, I could not remember her name. Oh, past my bedtime. Jyn Erso, and the stormtrooper's like, "What are you doing?" And K2SO turns around, and so it's captioned, "When you're writing an essay and trying to hit that minimum word count," and it's K2SO's line, "These are prisoners. I'm taking them to imprison them in prison."
I love that. That is not what I was expecting. That's really good. I love it.
Speaking of Rogue One, this is a side tangent. So as I mentioned earlier, I like to look at concept art. I like to look at the art of books. I collect them, and I have quite a few in my wish list that I should probably just go ahead and buy. And so, Andor has come out, so that's kind of like started up a re-interest in Rogue One. I anxiously await the Andor art of book. I cannot wait. I happened to look at the Rogue One. It's out of stock right now on Amazon, which is fine. I mean, lots of people bought it. Someone is selling it for $1,850.
Wow.
And it's like...
wild.
Just almost said where I was going to buy it from. That's my secret for me to know. But I was like, Look, I think art is priceless too. Why? I bought some expensive concept art books. I'm not going that high.
That's something we'll definitely talk about at some point. Is the I have a note in my phone for topic ideas. We'll have to talk about concept art in your books at some time.
I love concept art. In case you guys hadn't noticed.
Okay. Do you have any other memes you wanted to share? Is that the end of your meme well for the week?
I think that was kind of it. I don't really have too many because some of them are kind of hard to explain over podcasts.
Yes, I appreciate you having that filter because I definitely wouldn't want to have every single meme you saw for the week. But
now hold on.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of episode 2. After this really excellent episode, I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. And we'll be back next week with... So it's our episode 2 of the podcast, episode 3 of Bad Batch season 2. We'll be back next week with episode 4. And this is Cameron and Rachel signing off saying it's not cool to bully people unless you're bullying... I messed it up. I forgot his name. Crosshair. Gosh dang it.
I thought you were going to say your friends. I was like,
no.
I mean...
that was the original. That was
kind of make fun
Cameron
of
and Rachel bully each other. No. Okay, I'm gonna retry
each other
it.
for 45 minutes.
I want to... Okay. Clean take. This is Cameron and Rachel signing off saying it's not cool to bully people unless you're bullying Crosshair. Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye.